Good day, viewers, and welcome to another edition of my podcast on the Suburban On Air called Beyond the Pages. And thank you for all of you who sent in such kind words on our interview with Christopher Skeet, the parliamentary assistant to Premier Legault. I want to talk to you briefly today about articles that are running in the paper. We focused on this issue, and let me call this little rant, if you want, or this little sharing of views with you, as the excesses of power. And we have a responsibility to guard against those excesses. It concerns two things that the City of Montreal has done this week. But I want to take you back first about 5-6 weeks to what the federal government tried to do. And this is about government trying to exploit a crisis to grab powers that they have no right to. So if you recall, 5-6 weeks ago, Prime Minister Trudeau attempted to get extraordinary power of tax and spend till the end of 2021. Now, as many of you may know, tax and spend power, taxing authority, all money bills must originate in the Senate, must be approved by the House of Commons. He tried to get around our Constitution that way. Thankfully, through pressures of the official opposition, Andrew Scheer and others, that was stopped. Now let's focus on what Montreal is attempting to do the past 10 days. You've read my writings in this administration. I consider it a danger to the public welfare. Past several weeks, two things occurred. First, the city is Mayor Plante is trying to make law of a proposed bylaw called the 2020 bylaw. This bylaw would require, by executive fiat of the city, that all builders have 20% social housing, 20% affordable housing, and 20% three-bedroom apartments in all multi-unit buildings. There is no greater supporter of the need for more spending on social housing than I am, and affordable housing. But to order developers, to order the private sector to put 60% of their rental units in a city that traditionally rents, 70% of Montrealers still rent, will chase builders out of Montreal and send them to the suburbs. Supposedly exactly what Mayor Plante has said she wants to avoid. Certainly that's something we all want to avoid because we want to keep our communities, we want to keep our tax bases. Last week, the OPCM, the city's own consultative organization and mechanism, themselves came out with a report saying that this plan of Mayor Plante's would destroy residential building in the city of Montreal. And this was attempted at a time when we're all trying to get back from an economy on pause, a dramatic and drastic retrenchment of our economy that is going to take a long time to recover. This is not the time to do it. This is dogma over good sense. And hopefully that the city's own consultative organization has come out against it. You'll all give your support to councillors like Marvin Rotran, the Dean of City Hall of the City Council, in their attempts to stop this. But let me talk to you about another matter, perhaps far more immediate and certainly far more draconian in its impact. We're trying to get small businesses, which are 80% of the job creators in our society, to reopen. All businesses with a door onto the street, as the Premier said. Well, the mayor did one good gesture. She said all restaurants can open their terraces without the exorbitant fees to the city. Those fees sometimes run $30,000 for a summer season. The next day, what she gave with one hand, she took away in triplicate with the other hand. She announced 350 kilometers of new bike paths in the city, which will mean, by their own plans, that in major commercial arteries like Boulevard Saint Laurent and Queen Mary Road, at least 50%, if not more, of all parking spaces will be eliminated. This is on top of the more than 1,000 parking spaces this administration has already eliminated downtown. As you may well know, the mayor of Montreal is also the mayor of the Ville-Marie borough, which includes downtown. The city's own numbers demonstrate that 400,000 people come into Ville-Marie borough every day, winter or summer. Ville-Marie borough is 1/3 of the GDP of Quebec. At the height of the spring-summer season, by the city's own figures, by Bixby's own figures, there are only 26,000 bicyclists coming into Ville-Marie borough. This attempt by the mayor to impose, again, dogma over common sense will destroy any attempt at reopening by small business. Business needs people in cars. People want to be in cars now after being cooped up. And if they can't find parking in Montreal, they'll go to the suburban malls. Supposedly another thing this mayor didn't want to do. This mayor is not stupid, my friends. This mayor is opportunistic. She's playing to her bicycle base. They continue their war on cars for no particular good reason, without understanding that most people drive cars because they need jobs. They're going to their jobs. Sometimes they're going to 2 jobs. They're taking their kids around. We will not be able to survive as an economy. Small business will not be able to resurrect itself if they don't have parking spots outside their stores. We already know from Restaurants Canada that fully a third of restaurants in Montreal will not reopen. The retail organizations are saying 20% of the stores on St. Catherine Street will be closed, with another 10% probably closing after the first month of operation. We can't afford this kind of dogma. We can't afford this lack of common sense. Have your voice heard. Call your councillors. Tell them you do not want another destruction of our parking base in the city of Montreal. And don't just do it because you or I consider driving a necessity and we need parking spaces for convenience. Do it for your neighbors. All the small business people, the independent business people that will now be opening their doors onto the street again. Let's make sure that we make it easy for us to go and patronize those businesses. We've written about shopping local. Well, shopping local means we have to have a place to park. And we can't give in to the Luddite dogma of Montreal City Hall. Plante administration has become a menace to this city. Hopefully you'll all remember this next year when it comes time to vote. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you back here sometime very soon.